Tell me a little bit about your career as a health coach.
It's been a journey, and I think probably a lot of
Yeah.
health coaches can relate with that. Getting started, I always feel like is the hardest part,
Mhm.
and just coming back to what our motivation is, why we did this program. I think that's very important to remind ourselves to keep that momentum. I've
Yeah.
explored different paths, and I'm really thankful to have found kind of my niche and my interest. And actually, I primarily work with licensed therapists in the mental health field. So while the therapist and we provide collaborative care, and the therapist will work with the client on the past and how some of the behaviors have come to form. And then
Mhm.
with the health coaching side, we work in parallel. And I focus on the future of what is the behavior that the client wants to work on and change, and what are those SMART goals and those proactive steps that we can take. So it's a really beautiful model. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think with health coaching, you have to, um, I think it's valuable to find a niche and have that self reflection of what type of service you want to provide and what's meaningful to you, and getting a bit creative of how you can collaborate with others that value and see the value of the coaching model. So it's
Mhm.
definitely been a journey in exploring and dipping my foot in different places. Um, but I'm happy to have found a niche and to be building that network and working with clients in that way.
That's really wonderful. And I think too, it's more than just doing a job search on health coaching. It could be called different things, right? It could be a behavior coach. I think you were mentioning some other things that you were sort of, talking about as well, that you were, like a support.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can be searching. Of course, health coach, functional medicine health coach, wellness coach, behavioral health coach, care coordinator, care support, care manager. There's a lot, and I think it's important, as the health coaching in terms of a career is in development, and just to get creative and try different avenues, and be open-minded as you get
Mhm.
started in learning about different possibilities of how you can use your coaching certification, even if it's not so straightforward at first.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful advice. So I appreciate that. And I'm sure new graduates will appreciate hearing that. Tell me, how did you approach those therapists? Did you cold call? Did you have a relationship already with a couple of therapists? What did that look like for you?
It was a process where I knew, as I was even going through uh, the FMCA program, like I
Mhm.
knew I had that leading, and I I value the mental health support and the different modalities that licensed therapists use. And I saw that there was a value in actually, I paused there.
Yeah,
That's
go.
fine, right? That we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay.
it's totally fine. That's fine.
Um, so the question is, how did I find it?
Yeah.
How did I find that path?
Yeah, how did you collaborate, like, in terms of finding and working this and building this beautiful partnership with these mental therapists? What did that look like for you? Did you have a specific office or clinic in mind? Did you know somebody that worked in that field that you felt like you had some rapport with, that you could collaborate with and build a program?
In all honesty, I did cast the net very wide, and I did do a bit of outreach, looking on LinkedIn and doing those different search terms. I think that's very
Mhm.
important, and that's where I did come across. And then within joining, within my network, hearing about, I'm part of it's like Asian American uh, network, and
Mhm.
there was a business that they spotlighted, which is called Anise Health, and I'm a behavioral health coach with them. And just hearing about them, and just reaching out, actually, just sending an
Yeah.
email saying if they're looking for more behavioral health coaches, and sharing a little bit about my background. Actually, that platform was working very closely with Well Coaches,
Okay.
another organization. But I think that that's an opportunity, perhaps with FMCA, to partner with them, and to give health coaches opportunity to gain experience, and and to work for those coaches that are interested in the mental health field and behavioral health. But yeah, it was through keeping my eyes open and
Mhm.
being proactive and looking,
Mm.
um, and just reaching out. You never know how people will respond,
Yeah.
whether it is a job post or it's just a company that has been highlighted that you're interested in, and just sending an email and seeing what could happen. I think that was probably the best advice I could give. Is I feel like I've
Yeah.
said it quite a bit in
Yeah.
this in our short conversation, but just be open, be creative, and put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and just see what can happen.
Yeah.
And if you have an idea of how you can work with them, share it with them, and
Yeah.
begin that ball and get that rolling of
Yeah.
just yeah sharing and taking a collaborative approach.
Wonderful. Yeah, again, great advice. Keeping your eyes open, being creative. I really like that perspective of being creative. And here you are, working as a behavioral health coach, and it might not have been a search term, but that's what someone else was referring to you as, and that's what we do, right? We're behavior change specialists. So that's great. I love that you said that you cast a wide net and you just kept a space, an opportunity open for yourself. So thank you. Tell me, how did your student experience at FMC support you for your career?
The LTS groups, of course, was
Mhm.
critical, and
Yeah.
just being able to practice those skills and to see how different people in your classmates are, what they bring to the table, and learning from one another. And the big part for me was there was a classmate that I really connected with,
Mhm.
and even during our program, we were just practicing coaching each other on the side. And once we graduated, we both continued to do that, and it
Mhm.
was really helpful. My classmate was very proactive, and I feel like was always kind of one step ahead of me and just motivating me to and creating that spotlighting that path of what it looks like and what it takes to get there. So she took the board exam first, um, and in the job process, just sharing different opportunities that we thought were suitable for each other, and just having that support and someone else to remind you, because at times it gets hard, um, that you can do it, and that it can be challenging, but it is really rewarding, and you're not doing it by yourself. And um, yeah, just bouncing ideas back and forth from one another, and coaching each other through the more difficult times of getting back in tune with your deep motivation and what drives you to want to make this career change. and
Mhm.
and I think that's um, really helpful, just having someone to do that in so many layers, from their own emotional support and processing to the practical steps.
Yeah. So it sounds like you had a really good accountability partner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. And that is what I think a lot of our coaches say about FMCA in our community, is that it is such a strong, powerful community. And together we're here to support each other and strengthen numbers, right? And it's so great when you're having those tough times, or struggling a little bit, that you have such a huge array of facilitators and colleagues to reach out to. The FMCA Alumni Program, I would love to ask, how did it help you and what has your experience been like?
It's been great being part of the alumni program. I think once you graduate, there's that natural momentum to want to get started in your health coaching career, and just to have that extra support. I've utilized the Facebook group, and just when I had a question about the national board exam, or about working with a particular case and client, it's been nice just to be able to put that out there and have feedback from the community and people who've graduated before me and have a bit more experience in that. So that's how I've utilized it in kind of immediately after the program. And there's also the workshops. There was one on PTSD that I thought, and trauma, that was
Mhm.
really informational and informative, and it was a great showing of 20 plus people who have graduated and are working in that context. So it's pretty neat in terms of all the different types of workshops, and they
Mm.
can be pretty specific about um, your particular interests or niche or area of focus. So
That's
something for
great.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that feedback. And, you raised a good point too, just thinking about that trauma-informed coaching and how important that is. I think we can all use it, and I think it's a great skill for all coaches to have. So I'm glad that you were able to take part in that and got something from it and from the community. Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kwan. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what kinds of things you do in the future and hear about all of your successes. And we invite you to come back and, join, with our new grads and, share in those successes that you've worked so hard to achieve. And, the future is, nothing but possibility. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Kerri, for giving this time and reaching out in this way.
You're welcome.